Officials in Utah giving an update on the investigation into the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk. This is happening in Washington County, Utah. Let's take a listen.
Really long agency assist. So we're not conducting the investigation. We're not doing interviews. I've been asked some questions, and there's some that I'm just not going to answer. It's going to be focused on how we were able to get Tyler to voluntarily come and turn himself in at my office. That's going to be the scope of it. I do want to touch on, so I have a retired corrections deputy named Matt Robinson. There was some initial news that, to the extent of ridiculous information out there, that Matt Robinson is currently a deputy with the sheriff's office, and he physically put handcuffs on his son, the suspect, and brought him into jail. That's completely false. It just so happens that Tyler's father is Matt Robinson. There was some information about a retired deputy, so somehow that got blurred in the media, and I want to make sure that we're walking that back as best we can, because Matt Robinson, my retired deputy, has been been harassed. He's had to leave his house at this point. So whatever you can do to help walk that back, I'd appreciate it. His family would appreciate that. So getting into the details. So obviously we knew Charlie Kirk was assassinated at UVU in the afternoon. About a 33-hour manhunt ensued. And I was winding down for the evening, and at exactly 8:02 on the 11th, I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, in the court documents, which is standard, he was referenced as a retired Washington County deputy. So I didn't put that out there. It was in the court docs. I was trying to protect even that information and just saying retired law enforcement in general. So I get a call from my friend, and his said, "Hey, how you doing?" Good. And it's not, he's been retired a few years. We'll call each other. It's not unusual for me to get a call from him or vice versa. And at 8:02 p.m., he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily." During that phone call, some information was provided about Tyler potentially having some suicidal ideations, was en route to a remote area of Washington County. The parents convinced him not to do that, and conveyed that they would stand by him and help him surrender peacefully. So at that point, that phone call was 1 minute and 41 seconds. I immediately called Sheriff Mike Smith in Utah County, who I knew was at the incident command in Utah County. So for about 40 seconds, I'm telling Sheriff Smith, "Hey, I'm confident we have the shooter in Washington County. We're working on getting him to come in and surrender at my office." We didn't have him yet, and after about 40 seconds, Sheriff Smith's like, "Wait. What are you talking about?" So he was shocked, as I was, to hear the news. And so I repeated myself. He said, "How credible is it?" I said, "I trust this guy that called me with my life. And I think it's time you need to get your people, the lead investigators, headed to Washington County." Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives. So that was part of the deal. Is Tyler knew it was just inevitable with all the law enforcement pressure that his picture in the news, the gun on the news. He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened. So since we weren't the lead agency, basically it was about a 2.5 hour waiting in a room, not communicating with the suspect. Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here. So after about 2.5 hours, we ended up getting federal agents and state agents in, and some of my detectives were asked to go out into the community and secure 2 locations. So the parents' home and the apartment that Tyler was living in, along with the vehicle that Tyler was likely driving up at UVU. So that's about it.
Sheriff, how would you characterize that former law enforcement friend of yours as doing something good here?
Yeah, outstanding. He deserves full credit. I think that a lot of it is just the community relations, right? So Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there that they trusted that they could go to this individual and he could contact me directly, and that we could facilitate a peaceful, calm, relaxed surrender, if put it that way, right? Make him comfortable for a couple hours, make sure he has water, no communication until the lead investigators arrived. So,
Sheriff, you mentioned you got a call from a retired detective. What went through your mind in that moment when he told you what was about to happen? How did you negotiate with Tyler or his family?
So
what were your first impressions when?
So shock, right? So I like I said, I couldn't imagine the conversation that occurred in that minute and 41-second conversation. But there was negotiation. There was some criteria that needed to be met for him to voluntarily come in, and I agreed to those terms.
What did he ask for? Can I ask?
He basically for a peaceful, gentle transition for him to come out. Again, he knew he was going to get caught. He didn't want a big SWAT team hitting his parents' house or his apartment. He was truly fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So that the conditions were as relaxed and comfortable and almost to the point of inviting. And if at the end of the day we accomplish him surrendering peacefully on his own, I'm gonna make some concessions to make that happen.
And what was his mood when you first saw him?
I would describe it as quiet and somber. So not talkative, just no. Go ahead.
There's been reports that this family friend is also potentially a youth pastor or connected through the church. Is that the same person?
No church leadership, just an association through their religious.
Was it somebody in their ward, LDS ward?
Yeah, I would say that, but not in leadership. Unfortunately, the bishop of that ward has been drug into it because of some of the media reporting. But that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
About the bishop.
Yeah, the bishop wasn't involved in this.
You're not releasing the identity then to the family?
No, absolutely not.
If you can speak to it, did the sheriff's office have any interaction with Tyler Robinson in previous incidents?
I've been asked that a few times, so it's well known. It's in the media. Tyler's apartment was in St. George city limits. The parents' home was in Washington city limits. So since the sheriff's office is primarily patrolling small rural communities, the unincorporated areas of the county, if there were any calls to the residents in St. George City, the highest probability that just St. George City would handle that, not the sheriff's office. So I don't have any data that would support that one way or the other.
Have you interviewed his roommate, Robinson's roommate?
No, we're not the lead investigators, so we would be doing that. So we wouldn't be doing that.
Sheriff, how would you characterize the parents of what you knew that night?
I don't know anything about him.
What did they mention in the phone calls?
No.
Sheriff, how do you feel about the fact that this surrender happened was in the police office, at a police station, and kind of was peaceful, inviting, as you framed it, and not like a SWAT situation or a big operation that had happened in the neighborhood?
Right. That made him comfortable enough. The conditions were satisfactory to him to where he ended up getting a ride with my friend to be dropped off here. We did have some initial discussion internally. So I run the county jail, and we have to think ahead. So what if Tyler ends up staying the night in our facility? What does that look like? Because of the circumstance, he was driven to Utah County that night, I'm going to say maybe about 2 a.m. So that took that weight off us on how we're going to keep him safe in our facility, and talking about constant supervision and things like that. But that didn't occur. yeah, so.
How did you feel about that, having a surrender at the police office versus something else?
Well, obviously it was a big deal, not only national but international. You're seeing people mourning all over the world for Charlie Kirk, and to have that happen, I've had thoughts and heard comments about, this kind of stuff doesn't happen in Utah. Unfortunately, it did. But then to have the suspect be a Utah resident who literally went to the same high school I went to, I mean, we're like 30 years apart, but I went to the same high school. He happened to go to the same high school here in Washington County. So it's a double shock factor that one in Utah, and then the suspect happened to be homegrown Washington County boy. So.
What time did he get here?
It was just before 9 p.m.
What did you do once he got here? Did you put him in handcuffs?
No. Nope. Made sure he had water, made him comfortable sitting on a couch in an interview room, and just sat on him until the lead investigators came in.
So his parents didn't say anything?
No, not again. That was not our place to ask questions. It was just, we have you here. We're in a holding pattern until the lead investigators get here. So that wouldn't be in our wheelhouse. We wouldn't even have attempted to interview any of them.
Sheriff, can you provide some more details about this detective, a friend of yours, a retired detective? Was he a member of your homicide unit, violent?
He was a detective. For many years, he was a detective. So in our agency, our detectives, like some cities, you have detectives just working homicides or just working sex offenses. Ours is all encompassing whatever case comes next, and you have the smaller caseload. You're going to get whatever case that is.
How long has he been out of the force?
About 3 years.
How grateful are you the fact that this ended the way it did and not in a violent outcome?
Oh, very, very, very much. Like I said, concessions were made to make that happen. So if, again, peaceful surrender, make him comfortable. He's accused of a horrific crime. So it's kind of odd to be in that, again, accused of a horrific crime, but then we are treating him very civilly, very humanely. And that's just part of the job. We do that on a regular basis. Try to make people comfortable so they're relaxed and not bombard them with negativity or hammer fist or stormtrooper type approach. We wouldn't do that.
Sheriff, how many total phone calls were made between you and the retired detective?
There were several follow-up phone calls that night. One was between my command staff and my friend, just them letting me know, hey, he is in the building. We have him in an interview room, and there's been several follow-ups since then. Just me checking in on him, and
all the way from that first call to say we're here, kind of a phone call.
Correct.
Prior to him turning himself in, did you guys have any clue that maybe he was in the Washington area?
No, not even a hint. And that was part of the shock factor, right? Is he could have been anywhere. Most people that are involved or accused of things like that, they'd want to get out of the area as soon as possible. So the fact that he came home basically was part of the shock factor, I think.
You said he was afraid of being shot. What did he say exactly? How did he express that?
Just that.
Any concerns?
just that. One of his fears of being shot by the police. Period. That's it.
Was your friend that said that, or was that?
That my friend conveyed that to me through conversation with Tyler's parents.
Any concern for the family and the roommate safety if and when they come back to their home in Washington City or in St. George? Any concerns from
No, absolutely. They need to lay low for a long time, unfortunately. So even, I'll throw this out there. I have a second cousin with the last name Robinson. He happens to be an optometrist in town. And his office has been receiving threatening phone calls just because of his last name. So to put somebody in that kind of burdensome situation when they had nothing to do with it, no relation to the family, just think about how the actual individuals involved in this incident are feeling right now.
Are you placing any deputies at their house, outside their house, anything like that?
So that's not our area of patrol, so the cities would handle that if that request came in, but I don't have any insight there.
Sheriff, can you describe the handoff that occurred from Tyler Robinson to the authorities that came down from the north?
Yeah, they parked in my parking lot. Oh wait, the lead investigators. So by the time they were in town, Tyler was sitting in an interview room with his parents when they arrived. So they were already in this building when the lead investigators arrived.
And how did that handoff go down? Was he handcuffed?
No, he was sitting on a very comfortable couch with a water bottle in his hand, not restrained. He was again cooperative, somber, quiet.
Sheriff, since then, what has this whole ordeal been like for your county and your office?
I've all of a sudden received a lot of media requests. So that's what's changed in my world.
So the parents were in the room, in the interrogation room.
Correct. That was part of the negotiation to get him here, is that the parents would be with him when he arrived.
Can you explain the last moments that did they hug? Was mom crying?
I don't have any detail on that. I'm sorry.
And he was turned over to FBI or state?
It's a joint investigation between the FBI and the state of Utah primarily. Anytime anything this large scale happens, it's all hands on deck. So we're going to need a lot of, just covering the campus and securing the crime scene up north. We've had, active shooter incidents down here recently where every law enforcement wearing every uniform in the county is going to go to those types of scenes.
And just to be clear, he was not handcuffed when he was...
Correct. He was not handcuffed. No.
Did the Sheriff's Department help secure the perimeter?
Office.
Excuse me, thank you. The office, didn't you help secure the perimeter or the...
Yes. So since the lead investigators were, 3 hours north of us, it took them a while. So that was again, I describe it as an agency assist. We went and just secured the homes. We didn't search the homes. We didn't communicate with anyone within the homes. It was just, we were just locking things down until they arrived.
That was Thursday night?
Yes. Yep.
Is the roommate in protective custody? Or?
I don't have any comment on that.
How do you characterize the interactions between the parents, Tyler and Tyler, in the time they were sitting here?
They were together. That was it. I can't point to any emotion or body language or anything to that. They were just with him. So,
was he recorded in that room?
All of our interactions in that room are recorded.
I know there was some discussion of him being potentially suicidal instead of surrendering when he was in the holding room here. Any concern about that?
No.